Well, hello and welcome to the Jammin Jukebox radio show. I am your host, DJ Delta Dawn. And oh my gosh, it's hump day. It's Wednesday, folks, and I cannot be more excited because the weekend is coming, and I know many of you, if you're like me, you're looking forward to that. But I'm especially excited that today's Wednesday because our guest tonight, she is a return guest, and I always love to have people back that I've interviewed initially, and I'm really excited tonight because she has a brand new album out that is just unbelievably good, and so we get to talk with her. I mean, it's literally just dropped, so it's brand new, and so very, very excited to be speaking with her tonight. And to give you a little background on her, in case you missed the interview with her the first time around, she is a singer-songwriter, and she blends ethereal vocals and sweeping piano runs. She can play a piano like no one's business. And she has won over audiences across the U.S. She has a Celtic style that is unsurpassed. And her first album debuted in 2005. It was called Every Thought. Then in 2006, she followed up with Desert Tune. And then her previous releases were The Moon and Fire Circle and Anamnesis. I had trouble saying that last time she was here. But her brand new release is entitled Violet, and it is it's just more of the same, and it just keeps getting better and better. I would love to introduce to you now, without further ado, Shauna Burns. Hello, Shauna.
Hello, Dawn. How are you?
I'm great. It's like talking to an old friend having you back here tonight.
Yes, I'm very excited. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. We were talking before we went live, and oh my gosh, you've been so busy. I was just so ecstatic when I found out that you were available and you could come back.
Aww.
Because I knew your album had just come out, and definitely wanted to have you back on to talk about it because each one of your albums are so unique and different from the other, and to be able to have this new project, I was really interested in talking with you about how it all came together and how this one is different. And so let's just launch into it. What have you been up to?
Oh, my gosh. Well, essentially, we have been insane busy doing this new album, Violet. We started this process way back in the spring, and we decided, well, at first we wanted to have everything ready by the summer, and we were just so engulfed by it. And James and I, we decided to build our own studio. So Violet is really special to us because this is sort of a new journey for us. We've built Red Rock Music Studios, and this is really going to be a big foundation for not only my work, but what James does, what he does for his work and for our family. And it's something we wanted to do for a long time. So we really contemplated, when should we put this album out? Should we wait till the spring? And I know it has a flower name in here. We're going to release it in October, but we just said, you know what, we love it so much, we just need to get it out now. And what's weird in the process of sort of getting Violet ready, and I didn't fully realize this until after, when we were like mixing and mastering the songs down, how similar they felt sonically and sort of energy-wise to A Winter Gathering. And I almost felt like the songscapes, which were the original little songs on the holiday album, kind of welcomed in the sounds of Violet. And so in my head, I always see the first two albums, Every Thought and Desert Tune Sisters, and The Moon and the Fire Circle and Anamnesis Sisters. And now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I think almost Winter Gathering and Violet might be sisters, but they feel so similar. So that is what we've been doing. Sorry, long answer. We've been building studios and doing music and wrangling little boys and, doing that.
Well, my gosh, I mean, to launch a studio and to do an album project, I mean, an album project in itself is a huge undertaking, as you know, and it's no small feat ever, and trying to decide when you're going to put it out is kind of, part of that whole dynamic, but just producing it is incredibly huge. But to put your studio together in the midst of all of that that has been a work in progress, I know, for you and your husband for a while, but in the fact that it's now officially available and it's something that you guys have wanted to do and that it's now a reality. I know that is so exciting for you both, and congratulations to you on that. And speaking of the studio, is this going to be the kind of thing where I know it's going to be kind of your place to do your thing, your music and all, but is it going to be something that you would open up to other artists and have them come in and record?
Yeah, and that's sort of James Clark, my husband. That's kind of his shebang. He does audio production, has a degree in audio production and that sort of thing. So, yes, absolutely. He can work with people and, help them whenever they need. So, email him if
there you go.
Any recording help. But yeah. Yeah.
Well, definitely, I will. I would love to help you guys promote that in any way possible. I mean, I do promote indie artists all the time, but, I believe in your projects and what you're doing, and I know that and the quality of your albums that your husband has worked on is just top-notch. And so, yeah, I mean, I have indies occasionally inquiring of me going, do you know someone that you could kind of network me with kind of thing? And now I do. So I can honestly say I will certainly pass along information. And after we wrap you, I'll work with your management and get that so that we can get that ball rolling to help you guys out. If that will be okay with you.
Sure, of course. So nice.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Now, I have to ask you about this album because, yes, when I was listening to it, I really did immediately kind of was like, this is so reminiscent a little bit of the Winter Gathering album. And I love the fact that because you were releasing it now, I was like, if she keeps on, she's just going to have an album for every season. It's like we can listen to this one now, Violet, and roll right into the holiday season in a few weeks and listen to Winter Gathering. And, and it just kind of goes from there. But how did you come up with the name Violet? Of all the wildflowers that you could have selected, what made you settle on that for a name?
Well, it's taken from the song Violet. It's number 11 on the album. And, when the song was first being written, this was now, some years, few years ago, I didn't actually particularly think of like a flower. I thought of it more as a name and as a name for sort of a feminine energy. And I know that sounds maybe a little bit weird or new agey, but the whole concept that I sort of feel around Violet is sort of this embrace, this motherly, this tender embrace that whenever there's a negative force in your life, the positive one has to, be strong enough to crush it. And when the positive gets higher, the negative is going to get higher. So I sort of pictured Violet as sort of our warrior, our, the motherly embrace, the sort of tender side of like a warrior woman. And so that's kind of the feeling that I got throughout, all of the songs, the sort of connecting thread perhaps. And so to me, that's sort of like a name and an idea and it just happens to be, sort of a feminine thing, so a flower name or, something that could be a strong color. And so I think of it more as a color, an energy, an idea. More than a flower.
I love how you described that because I had actually read that, the album, this particular album, is kind of more focused on female love-inspired freedom, and I love the phrasing of that because that really does encompass a lot of things, and the name Violet just really personifies that, I believe. Perfect choice, in my opinion. And the album, the thing I love about your music is it's ethereal, it's whimsical, it's Celtic. I mean, it's really a style of music that it really takes you places. You know, you've got all kinds of music out there, but your music in particular is the type of music you just can put on and totally just relax and go to that spiritual place within yourself and just meditate or really, you know, think about things beyond this life kind of thing. It really does take me on that journey. And is that kind of what you hope listeners will gain as they're listening to your music with each album?
Yeah, and I think that I thought about this a while ago. Sinead O'Connor had, this is a very long time ago, had an interview where she said that what she loved about music is that you can take it, and even though it means one thing to the person who wrote it, you can take the songs and sort of morph them into what you're experiencing at the time, and so you can carry it with you. Mm-hmm. And I always think that, because sometimes songwriters, at least for me, sometimes it's almost like a mystery. Like I have a feeling what a song's about, and then sometimes it'll be like months later or even years later that I'll realize, oh, that's what that song was about. And actually a perfect example of this is there's a line in one of the songs, and I think it was in Portobello, where I talk about, you know, don't cut back, you know, the lushness of your life kind of idea is what the lyric is. And then at the end of the album on Messiah, I say, so I almost said the exact same lines. Mm-hmm. And I didn't actually even realize it until we were listening to it in the car. And it was almost like full circle of mm-hmm. the album, which was weird. And so it's almost like, you know, Tori talks about this a lot, about just sort of channeling the energy of what the song means. But mm-hmm. hopefully, I love an album with a thread, with you know, that people can take and, you know, have the individual songs, but then this little idea that kind of peppers throughout, or the lyrics, how one lyric leads into another song. And Ryan White Maloney, who plays guitar, he does this a lot on his music too, where he'll reference lyrics from other, you know, mm-hmm. parts of his album, mm-hmm. which is great, which I love to do, sometimes subconsciously.
Well, and you know, the thing about that I love is that as a listener of your music, you know, you really do. I think when I listen to your music, I do feel like I'm on a journey from the first song to the last song because of how the songs tend to be interwoven. And you know, they all have a separate message, you know, encapsulated in each one. But, you know, they're all kind of woven together for the great message, you know, of the entire project. And I love listening to lyrics, you know, in songs. I love the musical aspect, but lyrics have always spoken to me in ways unlike, you know, melodies can, as it is for many people. And but your music is just that way. It just has that impact and that feel. And I think people do glean something from it when it's like reading a poem. It's a musical poem is what it reminds me of. Lyrical poetry, you know, that sort of thing. It really does. It has that feel. It's you know, and I probably asked you this initially when we interviewed last time, but just for the sake of the listeners who maybe didn't hear that interview initially, how did you arrive at the Celtic style of music? What drew you to that style? Did you sing other styles of music before you embarked on this, or was this just kind of a given from the word go that this was the music you were going to make?
No, it was and it's sort of a half accident, because I wanted to be in Depeche Mode. You know, I wanted to be in The Cure, and I wanted to be, you know, in the Smiths and Tori and Sinead. So, but my niece Caroline Kemper, who played harp on this, who's played on almost all of my projects, I think having sort of that connection, her dad makes harps and plays lots of little instruments, and I think in our family we love lots of like Irish things and going to Ireland, and so I think just naturally it sort of seeps through. I didn't like consciously say like this song's going to be Celtic, and a lot of times I don't think it sounds Celtic, but then after I record it, we'll be listening to it, and Sean, our engineer, will say, boy, this sounds like a real Celtic, in the pub, blah, blah, blah. And I'll say, really? I was thinking I was Depeche Mode. Maybe it's me that I'm like, blah. But it's honestly, so it's a happy half accident. Sometimes it's, like for the song Runaway Caroline, I said this is about, sort of an Irish love song. It's about, somebody running away in Ireland or wherever. So I definitely want that pull. And, but for the most part, it just kind of happens naturally, which is good. I like that it does.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and the other thing that your music does, it has a mystical feel to it. It's spiritual, it's mystical, it's, like I said, whimsical, and believe it or not, yes, it does have a Celtic sound, and I love that because, for one thing, in American mainstream music, even in music in general, you don't hear this very often, it's such a different sound, but yet it's refreshing, it's new, it's different, and it's very enjoyable. I think your music is the best music in the world to put in after a long, hard day, and you just come home, and it's just kind of, you just feel your body relaxing as you're listening to it. And your voice is so incredibly soothing as you sing. I don't know. It probably comes very naturally for you, but for me, it would take an enormous amount of control to be able to sing and project those lyrics with the feeling that you do. It's just always so mystifying to me how that comes across.
Thank you. I think I don't know what to say because that was so complimentary, because that's exactly how I feel when I listen to people that I love, like Lorna McKenna and, even Enya and people like that, where I just feel it. I always say when I hear something that really touches me, I'm always saying this in the car, this song reminds me of myself. This song reminds me of me. This song reminds me of what I would write, or, I wish I would have written this song, or this reminds me of maybe who I was or a thought I had, and, being touchstones. And that's what it feels like. That's maybe, what it should remind us of who we are.
Yeah. So, because music, as you said earlier, it speaks to people in so many different ways. Song meanings come across in a myriad of different ways, to each individual listener. But you hit the nail on the head. I mean, you do have that whole Tori Amos and Enya, Sarah McLachlan, that whole style just kind of infused together, and it's just beautiful. I mean, it's just your voice, the lyrics, the music, all of it is just very, very moving, and that whole genre style is very relaxing. It's very soothing. It's very soulful, and I love that because so much music out there, just kind of it kind of gets you going, and gears you up, and it's always nice to have that music like what you're making to just bring us back down to earth and just chill, and it does like no other style, I believe.
Yeah. Well, it's so hard, and I think my mom, which I think she's listening. Hi, Mom, if you're listening. She was saying, and I sometimes think this too, that a lot of pop music, even though there's some really great stuff, a lot of it is like you're singing at the top of your lungs, and all it is screaming. And I feel like I'm at like the polar opposite of that spectrum sometimes, where I feel like the more vulnerable and more sort of breathy and more, thoughtful sometimes can be more powerful than, just screaming it out and having the pitch totally perfect the whole time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like it when it's a little bit cracked.
Well, and I love that because you do such a good job with your music, and you definitely are not screaming. You're real. I'm saying that in jest, of course. Your vocal ability really shines through on your projects. I mean, you can tell how immensely talented you are. Not only as a songwriter, but as a songstress as well. And it just comes off as a beautiful project each and every time. And this is why, you have so many now. To your credit, of course. And speaking of that, I mean, we were speaking before we went live, and you were talking about you weren't sure what, if this was the right time to release the project. I'm thinking, I'm glad you released it because I'm always excited to get a new Shauna Burns album in my hands. But as I know many of your fans are, but I'm thinking the holidays are coming, you can maybe kind of take a breather, or is that even going to be possible?
Yes, I totally need a breather. I feel like we've been going a million miles an hour, and it will be nice to just enjoy the music and have it be out and have it. And what we're doing right now on the website on shaunaburns.com is we're bundling Violet and a Winter Gathering for like holiday shopping, and just sort of having the music together, and which I really like this idea because they feel so sonically similar to me, and I don't know, I feel like they could really go together. Because I've had several people say that they love a Winter Gathering so much they listen to it year round. I just had a good friend, Marcella, tell me that, and which I do the same thing too.
Yeah,
I listen to holiday music so this kind of feels like you can take it year round.
I am so glad that I'm not the only person that does that periodically year-round. My children look at me as if I have lost my mind when, it's July and I'm listening to Christmas music. But it's like, you don't understand. It's very positive. It's uplifting. I mean, if you need an uplifting moment, or if it's 4,000 degrees outside and you just want to feel cold, put on holiday music. It's something about that whole psyche. It really tricks you into thinking, it's much cooler outside than it is.
Yeah.
But it's very soothing, and your album is one of those, The Winter Gathering. It's not just seasonal. It of course is perfect for the holiday season, but it's perfect any time of the year because it has that traditional, Shauna Burns sound embedded in it. So it's perfect for any time. It's acceptable. So I have to I've listened to it many times, but it was not the holiday season, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I do the same thing. It will be July, and I'm playing God Rest You Merry Gentlemen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I have to talk about, if I space it, talking about the two albums, even visually, which I have to talk about. One of my dearest friends, her name is Tiffany Ducray, painted paintings. I actually sent her demos of the whole album of Violet, and she painted two paintings, and that's the painting on the front. There's one on the back, and the actual CD. It's actually the back of the website too. And I love how it's just infused everything in this album. It's so amazing, beautiful, and it goes so beautifully with not only with Violet, but with A Winter Gathering. And I just have to mention these paintings because I'm freaking out over them. I love them so much.
Well, I saw the album cover, and you beat me to the punch because I was going to ask you I was going to ask you, did you paint this, Shauna? But I knew someone had to have painted it, if not you, someone. It's absolutely breathtaking. And it was so perfect for this album in particular because with the album being entitled Violet, it just, like you said, you could definitely see the synchronicity, how it just was so synonymous and just pulled everything together to make it, it was like the icing on the cake, so to speak.
Yeah, it really is. And I've always wanted Tiffany's paintings to be sort of incorporated into one of my projects, and this was just perfect.
Yeah, I would say so. And I must tell you, your new photos in the photo shoot for this particular album are just are just stunning. I love the fact, the landscape that you chose, and gosh, could it have not been a more perfect day in terms of being outdoors doing this photo shoot. It was the weather was definitely on your side for sure.
I know it was. Our very good friend Sylvia Gutierrez took these photos, and it was, I don't know if you could tell, it was crazy windy. It was it was almost like hurricane winds.
Oh,
so
wow.
It made it kind of fun to do it. And we had this idea because we knew we were going to have these paintings, and we wanted to sort of incorporate everything with the artwork. And so we had this idea of an artist picnic. And so that's sort of what stemmed from this. And it was kind of getting dusk in a way, so we took some before the sun kind of went down, and then as it was kind of going down over the desert mountains, that's, what we saw. And when the layout came together, and another friend, Mark Veltri, did the layout, and we knew we wanted to incorporate how we're going to do the paintings and get everything, and it just kind of came together with sort of the artwork and sort of visually what I think of if you get the physical album. The inside is almost like what the artist saw or maybe was inspired, and then the outside, the cover and the back, are the actual paintings and the pressed flowers from the summer, for the seasons ahead, and that's kind of what it kind of, came up, or, sort of grew itself, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Definitely. And I love the album cover layout. I love the whole idea that, the paintings are framed. The painting is framed. There's a beautiful picture of you that's framed. And then even, a couple smaller pictures of the flowers. Some, flowers are framed. And it just really pulled everything together so lovely. And it was so nicely done. And you have so many incredibly talented friends that I know are great to go to for your projects, because what better way than to incorporate your friends as part of what you do and have them showcase what they do as part of it as well.
I know. Well, and that's what it's so true, because almost every single person that we worked with, even the same cello player Lindsay Springer, who is amazing. She's played with me before. Ryan White Maloney, he's played. Caroline's played, obviously, James forever. And a lot of these people, and Sean O'Dwyer, our engineer, he helped on a winter gathering. So it was kind of nice to have a lot of the same people from last time help, and sort of, and we try not to sort of smother them with my preconceived, like, okay, it has to be exactly like this, to sort of let them shine and not give them a little bit of direction to say, like, this is the energy, this is kind of what I'm feeling, but sometimes the songs speak for themselves, and then just let them do what they do best, because I couldn't. Lindsay is a world-class, amazing cellist. I wouldn't ever dream of telling her to do too much, so you just kind of let them do their thing, and yeah, I feel really blessed, really, really fortunate.
Well, I tell you, it's you have so many brilliant, talented people in your corner that have helped you put together this project, as you have many times over. And again, it's just another incredible project that just showcases your talent in such a great way. And so we are going to enjoy Violet. I'm excited for you. Congratulations on the brand new project, and we definitely look forward to future projects and more of the same, which will be undoubtedly just wonderful and awesome as always. So we do look forward to that. But Shauna, it is always such a pleasure speaking with you. I enjoy it so much every time, and I wish we had more time to chat. I could talk to you for hours on end, because you're just such a delight.
Thank you.
But
Thank
I would love to have you back anytime. Oh, you're so welcome. And again, I will definitely get that information on your brand new studio, and we'll help get some promotion going on that as well, and hopefully drive some indies your way. So we will do what we can for you for sure.
Thank you so much. I really, truly appreciate it, and it means a lot. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. Well, take care, and I'm sure we will be in touch again in the very near future. And much success to you with the album as it's released and everything. And have a great holiday season if I don't speak with you before then.
Yes, you too. You too have a wonderful holiday. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, take care, and God bless, and we'll be in touch very soon.
Thank you. See ya.
All right. See you, Shauna. Bye-bye. I absolutely adore Shauna Burns. Never fails. The first time I had her on, it was just such a nice conversation. As I said at the beginning of the interview, it's like talking to an old friend. She is such a delight, and I love listening to her talk about her music and her talent, and she's just very inspiring, and I love what she does. And so if you want to check out Shauna and pick up her album, brand new, I encourage you to pick it up, as a matter of fact. It's a great album. Go to shaunaburns.com, and there you'll find everything you need to know about Shauna. All of her albums are for sale on her website, and as is the brand new in Violet, and lots of information. And I would highly recommend checking out the photos and the videos section, because the photos that she has taken for her albums are just absolutely stunning, and the videos are, just really, really mesmerizing to watch, and you will enjoy it, trust me. But also, if you want to follow her on Twitter, you can follow her at Shauna Burns, and so check her out. And if you love her music, if you love Celtic-styled, ethereal, whimsical type music, mystical music, you will love Shauna Burns, trust me, because she definitely has the talent and is a wonderful artist. So we want to say a huge thank you to her for being our special guest this evening. And before we wrap, I do want to play a cut off of the album, which is one of my personal favorites. Of course, she has so many that it's hard to say I have one single favorite, so I can't. But this one in particular, on the new album, Violet, is really near and dear to me. I love the song, and I love the way she sings it. It's just a fun song, and I should have asked her about it. But in any event, the song is called Little Song, and this is off of the brand new album, Violet. Take a listen.
So he held her hand for as long as I can see. Oh, can't you see my way? Letting go now anyway. Found this chest
lovely song. The song is Little Song, and that's from her latest album called Violet. And we want to say a huge thank you to Shauna Burns for being our special guest this evening, and a big thank you to all of you as well. Such a pleasure having her back on our show, and I'm sure she will be back again in the future. So if you enjoyed that, please check her out, and more importantly, buy her music and support her so she can keep putting out great music just like that. So that is actually going to wrap our show for this evening, folks. Coming tomorrow night, our guest will be Tanya Marie Harris. She is a female country artist, and she is taking the indie world by storm. She will be here at 7 p.m. Eastern, so we hope that you will tune in for that. And until then, I hope that you enjoy your evening. Have a great day tomorrow, and we hope to see you right back here again tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. Eastern. Take care. Have a great night. Good night. God bless.
Thanks for listening to tonight's show. You can connect with Jammin' Jukebox Radio Show on Twitter at Jammin' Jukebox or on Facebook at Jammin' Jukebox Radio Show. Check out our website at thejamminjukebox.com. Also, follow us on Blog Talk, where you will be always up to date on every episode as we add it. Each episode is available for immediate download upon the conclusion of each broadcast, and is always on iTunes. Thank you for joining us.